Welcome to Banking on KC. I'm your host, Kelly Scanlon. Thank you for joining us. With us on this episode is Jeffrey Altendorf, the co-founder of Team Aero, a company that buys and sells aircraft parts globally. And he'll be the first one to tell you it's a very unique, one-of-a-kind business. So in for a story here. Welcome, Jeff.
Thank you.
Your beginnings were even kind of different. If I know the story, the little bit that I do, you and your brother had started out and you were parting just a single plane. And that was back, I think, in 2006?
Correct.
So walk us through that very first deal. What led to it? What excited you about it? And how that very modest beginning evolved into the international company you've become.
Well, we have aviation backgrounds. I went to flight school in 1989. Thought I wanted to be a commercial pilot. Started flying and realized that's not really the path I wanted to take. So then I got into business jets, and that was pretty fun too, but quickly started into dismantling aircraft for parts. This went on for a long time, and then eventually my brother and I decided to start our own company in 2005. So at that time, we got together and we bought a loft in the River Market and decided, let's go for our first deal. So we got our first deal in February 2006. And if you can imagine buying a 10-passenger jet and not knowing where to put it,
yeah, a bit of a problem.
That's a challenge, definitely. Yeah. So I had a mentor friend of mine that had a trucking operation in Spring Hill, Kansas. I asked him if I could lease some space to put this jet that was dismantled. Of course, he agreed, and the rent was ridiculously cheap. So we shipped the aircraft from Germany to the United States, and that's where it all began.
When you started out, did you have any idea it was going to evolve into Team Aero as it is today? Did you have that kind of aspiration from the very beginning?
Absolutely. I mean, I'm a very goal-oriented person. I have a vision. I go for it, and typically I reach it. It's just, I'm very driven just by dreams, I guess. And I don't know. Sometimes I pinch myself and think, geez, I do have everything I've always wanted, especially today.
So when you talk about you flew this plane in from Germany, or was it shipped in, or did it fly?
We dismantled it in Germany. It was actually
dismantled it in Germany. Okay, so talk to us about that part of your business. I mean, how do you come upon these planes? How do you get them to you? How does that whole process work?
We've been in the industry forever, and so we have a lot of contacts worldwide, and mostly outside the United States. A lot of people that do similar things to that we do work within the U.S. and don't travel outside the borders of the States. We find that our best deals are coming from Europe or Asia or Africa. So we do have contacts worldwide, and we can also target a certain aircraft make and model or a certain engine make and model and just try to find that what we call like a low hanging fruit, something that either needs a complete makeover or requires extensive maintenance or just a lot of investment to bring it up to standards to sell again as a flying airplane. We like those because typically some of those airplanes you would have to invest more money into the aircraft to make it up to today's standards than the aircraft is worth. So then at that time, the owner's like, it's not worth investing that money. Team Aero, in its infancy, we were buying airplanes and we were pre-selling engines or avionics or packages really to fund the whole project.
That's how you earned your money to buy the next plane or the next set of parts or whatever. So what was a turning point that really gave you some financial breathing room to become the company you are today?
I look at an airplane in two different ways. I mean, you can look at it as a flying airplane that you keep flying, or you can look at it to where it's worth more in parts to me than it is flying. And that's how Team Aero really started. We were looking at airplanes that, absolutely 100% were worth more money in pieces than as a flying aircraft. So we would have to be very creative and try to pre-sell parts and kind of do back-to-back closings, things like this, to have very minimal investment in acquiring the product. Usually we could try to cover the aircraft by selling a big piece of it.
Yeah, so that was very limiting because you really couldn't get more than maybe one or two deals ahead of the current one.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the first couple, it was like, we'd be really rich and then we get really poor again, because you start to make all this profit, then you start running out of parts. And then that's when things kind of changed from 2006 to about 2010. We decided we needed to figure out a way to make the company have value. So at the end of the day, when I'm ready to hang it up, then it's something that's a sellable product or a sellable company. And when you're just selling parts outright to everybody left and right, then eventually you have nothing left over. So that's when we started getting involved with repairing the parts and selling them to customers where we'd get their units back, and we'd keep revolving these parts. So we always had stock. And that's kind of been the big key to our success today. But finally realized that having a banking relationship was huge and opened up way more opportunities that really took us to the next level. And that's what we've tried to do over and over again. The banking has been fantastic, and it's given us the opportunities to grow not only our facilities, but our employees, our inventory, and that's key. Because I felt like the more inventory I have, the more inventory I can sell. It's a no-brainer. But in the beginning, it was whatever I can afford. So when you have access to funding and things like that to do some of these projects, you can do more and you can do quicker. And so the quicker and the more you do, the more return comes faster.
For early stage entrepreneurs, funding is typically a big problem. So what advice would you give them, especially ones who are struggling to find funding?
You have to have a business plan, 100%. And still today, we have to have a business plan for most of our projects. It has to make sense, and you have to look at it and make sure it makes sense. So I'd say the business plan is number one. Having good people behind you is probably number two. A good circle of mentors that will never hurt you.
Who do you target as customers?
Our main customers are what we call an MRO, the maintenance facilities, where if you're a business jet owner, you're going to take your aircraft there to get maintenance performed. Those facilities buy from us like they would from the OEMs or from the factories. We're a good alternative to the factory.
As you've expanded from really a very smaller regional operation to serving these major clients around the world, was there a point where you realized we've outgrown the way we used to do things?
Systems.
Just even having them to begin with.
The right systems in place. I mean, for the longest time, I kind of wore all the hats. When we started, there was 4 of us. And, whether I was selling, buying, shipping, pulling parts, I did it all. And my brother has always been the logistics guy. He's always the guy that's going out in the field, taking the aircraft apart, shipping it back to the United States. I'm always the guy that's in the office doing the invoices, doing the purchase orders, making sure the inventory is correct, shipping parts. But over the last 20 years, I've got people in each department doing what they're supposed to do. So instead of being, jack of all trades and master of none, I wanted people to master what their job and their duties were. And it's really come together. Now it's kind of a well-oiled machine where it kind of gives me freedom to kind of oversee these departments instead of trying to control these departments.
And you can focus then on the bigger issues that was going to take you to that next level. And that's hard for an entrepreneur. Was it hard for you or? Yeah,
very, very difficult to delegate tasks. Quite honestly, sometimes it depends on how old you are and how long you've been doing it. But early on, I just thought, I'm the only one that could do this correct, and that's not true. You can actually teach people and they can learn, but it's hard. It's hard to let go.
What finally got you through that?
I don't know. I'm probably still struggling with it a little bit, but I had to. I had no choice. Even back when I tried to do the accounting, I was like, I'm not an accountant. Here I am trying to do it. Why am I trying to do it? That's actually the first person I should have hired, and it took me forever to do that. Hindsight, it's the best thing I ever did, and it's just things like that. Hiring a shipping manager, hiring a sales manager, somebody to do research and development, things like that. Those are all things that you try to do everything, but there's not enough time in the day to do that.
You obviously have a lot of passion for your business. So how do you hire these people that you are now hiring? What did you look for so that they shared that same kind of passion, enthusiasm, call it what you will, that you have for the business?
Hiring is probably the most difficult part about my business. But I try to hire within the industry these days. In the beginning, I was hiring friends, but we've all evolved together. And that's the good thing. And trust factors there when you hire a friend or a relative. In our business, that's important. It's hard to find people that are passionate about things like you are, especially, what I've noticed over the years is your employees will never be as enthusiastic about your business as you are. It's just this, I think that's just the way it is. Mm-hmm. They may be close, but not 100%.
When you are working with this legacy aircraft, often that means the sourcing could be unpredictable. You've already talked about that a little bit. Repair timelines, there may be some really difficult repair jobs, or maybe you get into it and realize it's a little bit different than what you thought. What's been the most challenging problem you've had to solve when it comes to a project that you worked on, perhaps something the most fun? I mean, it doesn't have to be the most difficult thing, but maybe the thing that was the most fun to work on project.
The fun thing about our business is every day is different. You never know what's going to happen day to day. You can walk into work and a deal just comes in your lap that you've had this part for 15 years and you think this will never sell. And next thing you know, you're selling it. You're making the deal on it. That's what's great about our business. It's unpredictable. And that's why I like the challenging thing that we face is lead times, parts, getting things fixed, especially since COVID. During COVID, it was, the supply chains for everybody, every industry was bad. Ours still is pretty tough.
Are there certain kinds of planes that you specialize in?
Typically 10 to 15 passenger jets. We do not deal in any propeller aircraft. We don't do the commercial aircraft. We do your Falcons, your Citations, your Gulfstreams, your Hawkers.
As a former pilot, do you have favorites?
Of course, yeah. I mean, we operate Citations and Falcons right now ourselves, and we do have another company that's doing completions and renovations and aircraft sales. But I would say the Falcons, the Gulfstream, a jet's a jet. They're all great.
Well, yeah, you probably wouldn't turn down the opportunity to fly any of them,
No,
would you? Yeah,
not at all.
You have a new, about 15,000 square foot hangar out at New Century Airport. That's a big move for you. So beyond giving you the additional space, what other capabilities or what other efficiencies is it going to give you as a company?
We've had airplanes spread out all over the city, kind of all over the United States in different stages of maintenance or upgrades. We've had airplanes in Topeka, Lee Summit, downtown, New Century, and it's just not efficient at all. And so kind of bouncing around and moving airplanes, and you can't keep up with the maintenance. You can't keep up with everything when everything's spread out like this. So this is centralizing our aircraft, our inventory. When I mean inventory, complete aircraft that are not going to be torn down. It's going to give us opportunities that we never had before. It's been a pipe dream forever. I mean, I think I met with the airport for the first time back in 2009, maybe again in 2012, probably again in 2018. Always looking to see what's available, how can I get a hangar built, and it was just never reality. Became reality about 3 years ago, and we went for it.
You've had a lifelong love of aviation. It clearly drives your work. So how does that passion influence your day-to-day operational decisions and the culture you're building?
That's a good question. I like the deal. I like putting the deal together. I like results. I'm a very results-oriented guy. I like seeing things come to fruition. It's just I have a drive for that. If I don't have something in the works, or actually many, many things in the works, then I probably get bored, and then it's no longer interesting. I have to juggle a lot of things.
I've talked to a lot of entrepreneurs, business owners over the years, and to a person, they will say that business ownership changed them in some way. How would you say business ownership changed you?
I think the number one thing is one day you just look around and you see the people that you're responsible for. That's probably the biggest change that I've realized. You start thinking about it's not only the individual that's your employee, but it's their spouse, their kids. It goes really deep, and to have that responsibility on your shoulders is another driving force. It definitely is.
Yeah. What is your big picture vision? I mean, I know you've got what you're doing now, and you just expanded. So maybe this is a bad time to be asking this question because you just achieved a major goal. But you've said that you're driven, so I know you've got to have another goal. What is, 10 years, 20 years down the road looking like to you? I
mean, I've always wanted to hang out on a catamaran in the BVIs or the Bahamas, and just take it in. Work for my laptop, make a deal here and there. I mean, I don't know. I always thought that I would never stop working. I mean, I genuinely love it that much.
You still feel that way?
I do, yeah, I do. But at the same time, my son is 14 now and starting high school, and we're thinking, okay, in 4 or 5 years, where is he going to be? Are we going to be following him around and hoping to be there for him? I mean, that's really important to me.
talk to us a little bit about the private jet industry right now. Is it on the upswing? Any challenges, headwinds that you're noticing is going to require you to make adjustments?
I think it's pretty strong. I mean, the whole tariff thing is affecting certain countries like Brazil because they manufacture a very popular jet the United States consumes. But the market's good, and of course we had 100% depreciation on these jets a few years back, and that went away, and now it's come back this year. But people that buy jets are people that can always buy jets.
That's a good point. Yeah,
there's a lot of international money buying these airplanes too. So I don't know. I think it's really good. COVID really changed everything quite a bit. People went and bought airplanes that required tons of maintenance and paint and interior and things like this. And kind of like barn finds, they're pulling them out, cleaning them up, polish them, and sell them because everybody wanted a jet. Nobody wanted to fly the airlines anymore. And so that really, it took, prices and doubled some of them. It was quite crazy.
Yeah.
So some of the airplanes that I dismantled for parts, hindsight, I'm thinking, oh my gosh, that airplane would be worth twice as much flying today. But you can't look back. And of course, if you had a crystal ball, you would just hoard everything you can, but that doesn't exist either.
A young entrepreneur who started something with basically nothing but an idea and started very small, one project at a time in order to finance the next one. What advice would you give entrepreneurs starting out today?
Just get that goal, get that vision, go for it. I mean, anything's possible. Be creative. That's the main thing. I'm always looking at things in multiple different ways. I never look at a deal one way, and that's the way it's going to be. I always have an exit strategy. I always think you need to be creative and how you're going to attack that, and what do you do if plan A is not going to work? Is there a plan B? I mean, that's always been the way I've done my business.
So when you have a decision to make and you can't quite figure out what you want to do, you're weighing so many options. How do you get past that? How do you finally make the decision?
Well, sometimes you wait too long and then you just have to make a decision. I've been down that road several times, especially lately. I mean, you think you have the time and the energy to do, say, plan A, and you really don't. A year goes by and you're thinking, okay, I need to do something here. And I probably should have done this a long time ago. And sometimes the opportunity just presents itself. And so then you just run with it and you hope that's the right decision.
Well, Jeff, it sounds like you have created a wonderful business and you have a strong vision for the future. I hope you achieve it. And I really appreciate you being on the show today to share all this with us.
Thank you.
This is Joe Close, president of Country Club Bank. Thank you to Jeffrey Altendorf, co-founder of Team Aero, for being our guest on this episode of Banking on KC. Jeffrey took us inside the specialized niche of aircraft parts and described how a single dismantled jet launched his global business. Pre-selling parts, boldness in entering global markets, and vision in scaling with banking partnerships were all keys to helping Team Aero move faster, expand inventory, and grow into the international company it is today. Jeffrey's journey is a reminder that ingenuity and determination can fuel remarkable growth. At Country Club Bank, we know those same ingredients, capital, guidance, and trusted partnerships, are vital for entrepreneurs throughout Kansas City. Thanks for tuning in this week. We're banking on you, Kansas City. Country Club Bank, member FDIC.